when we talk about remote work, I'm referring to the ability to be able to work from anywhere you are. As I stated in the beginning, that myself, I've been working for Cisco right out of university, and I want to let you guys know that when I joined Cisco, one of the first things that they did during my uh, uh, when we were getting introduced to orientation was to learn how to use remote access. Okay, so we were given laptops. First of all, everybody at Cisco have laptops. No one has desktops, so that laptop goes with you everywhere you go. When you go to work, you have that laptop, you put it on a dock, and you're able to leverage a lot of screen real estate. When you go anywhere with you, whether you are at home, whether you are at the beach, whether you are in the village, you have your laptop. And in order for you to be able to work, you can there's a tool called VPN that you guys are pretty much aware of. It's called Virtual Private Network, that allows you to connect back to your company's headquarters, and you can access resources that you typically will only have access to when you're on the network, when you're at that physical location. Well, with the advent of technology, what Tayo talked about is the digital economy. That means that no, we no longer have to be at the physical location to do the work. Okay, and so because we're no longer at that physical, there's no hard requirement for us to be able to for us to be at that um, physical location. That opens a world of opportunities for a lot of people around the globe. Okay, I myself, I live in the US, but I work with people in Israel, people in South America, people in Nigeria, people in Canada, and at any given time I can get on a meeting and I'm able to do my work. No matter, I can get onto the VPN and do my work. And now with the inventation with cloud adoption, you can do your work without having to use that VPN and VPN out to your company's network to use the resources. And so that opens up a lot of opportunity for people around the globe to find jobs online and be able to work. These jobs have a lot of different responsibilities, a lot of different roles, and also as you know that there's a different time zone across the globe. Right now where I'm at is currently 2:40, which may be like 8:40 your time. And you if you're a remote worker, time basically matters. So you have to think about what time zone you are in, and whomever you're working for, they're probably going to be in a different time zone. And so it's real easy for them to say, well, I want someone to work with me between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time. That would mean that you need to figure out what that time zone is, what that hours would be. For instance, if someone were to tell you, if you're calling in from Nigeria, that would mean you would need to, right now it's 8 p.m. You would need to get up much earlier to do your work. Okay. So with that said, that's about remote work. Let's talk about, before you can even get a remote work, you need to have a resume, right? I myself, I'm going to speak to you guys about my experience. In my current role, I do perform interviews. So I'm a part of a diverse panel. I do help people build their resume. I do help people build, understand how to interview, because it is a skill. You cannot just show up and say, here is my resume, hire me, right? That resume is basically the tool that allows you to even get an interview. So let's talk about the resume. The resume, I think you guys call it the vitae, but it is a document that details your skills and your training. Okay, this details your skills and your training. For us, it also details your work experience. It details your education and your accomplishment. Okay, I want to hang out here for a little bit because I want to explain some things to you guys. Perhaps you already know this, maybe you don't. When we talk about skills and training, most people abroad, when they go to school, during the time that they're going to school, they're also doing other things to gain skills and training. Okay, so while they're going to school, they are working, they are volunteering, they're studying for certification, they're learning a lot of things on the side, so that when they finish school, they have skills that they can actually put down on a paper saying, here are my skills that I can bring to the table as an entry level or as an experienced worker. Okay, so as we're talking today, my hopes is that your brain will begin to churn. As I know there may be people in this room that may say, I've never had a job before. I've never been paid. I've never had a paid work before. Yes, I may understand that, but don't let that limit you from saying I'm going to, build a resume and apply for a job, because actually, being that I was raised in Nigeria, there are several things that I did that that is warranted as a job, that you classify as a job, and while I wasn't getting paid, someone else was getting paid doing it. Okay, I am going to be extremely we used to sell my I'm going to be very transparent here. Growing up, we used to my family used to sell things, and so I was that person that would determine how much the capital we used to actually buy whatever we're selling, and then I would plan how we would basically sell the items, and actually what we would need to do to be able to collect profit on that particular market item. So I used to do that myself, and that right there is a skill that can be documented, and it can translate into a job. Okay, while you were not getting paid for it by your parents or your uncle or whatever, but it is a skill that if you think well enough, you will be able to go ahead and identify specific words, specific skills, in terms of hard skills and soft skills that will help you present your best self to any remote employer. Okay, so that's what a resume is. I'm sure you guys, pretty much aware of this already, but maybe not the first thing that I just talked about. Here, I've talked about here, what is a formal experience? What does it mean to have a formal experience? Formal experience is being able to say, okay, I have done this specific role, and then in that roles, here were my responsibilities. And I know that particularly in Nigeria, if you're a very young youth, perhaps you wash cars for your parents. Okay, so then think about that. When you were washing cars for your parents, maybe your uncles or whatever, maybe your job was a car detailer. Okay, you were the person that would determine when it was time to wash the car. You were the one that would have to itemize the things you needed to wash the car, what temperature the water had to be, what kind of cloth, so that you don't scratch. That is a formal experience that you can figure out. So I hope that this is kind of turning your brain a little bit. When you have built a resume, when you have built that resume, you want to build a resume with thoughts around things that you can articulate to an employer. Okay, that means you should be able to ask yourself certain questions like, would I be able to successfully communicate or articulate what I did in that specific job to someone who wants to hire me? Okay, if I said that I was a car detailer is a term here that is used in the US for someone who specifically washes car. They make like $80 a car wash that they actually do, and they have specific formulas that they use to wash the car, specific cloth that they use to wash the car, a specific cloth that they use to dry the car. How do they insert customers? These are things that if I am coming to talk to you as someone who's looking for a job with me, you have to be able to articulate those things. And not just articulate those things, be able to articulate the benefits you provided to your customer or to whomever you were delivering the services to. Okay, for instance, that car detailer, I want to tell you that most people, back in Nigeria, people wash their cars a whole lot, and they wash their cars themselves. Either the gate man washes the car, or they take it to a shop and they wash the car for them. But in US, it's some we have turned it into a business where you can drive through. I'm sure you guys have seen that in Nigeria, and you were able to get your car washed for you, and then it's pulled out, and when it's pulled out, a person can actually go inside the car. They can clean every inch of that car and make it like it was brand new again. And what that delivered to the customer in terms of benefit, that customer while they are while they, they pull the car in for you to watch, the benefits are the customer did not have to worry about washing the car themselves. The customer did not have to worry about detailing the car himself. The customer did not have to worry about what formula will destroy the color of the car or will destroy the type of materials on the seats, if it's leather or cloth. And beyond that, the customer can spend their time doing other things that they wanted to. So you have to be able to articulate that to the customer, to an employer. Okay. That's just one thing. And when we talk about your resume, you have to ask yourself questions like, have you ever, done a remote work before? Remote work does not mean that you are in Nigeria and you have somebody in Canada and you're working for them and they're telling you what to do. It could also mean that you are in New York and perhaps somebody is in, maybe you are in Akwa Ibom State and someone is in Delta State and they're giving you instructions. Well, is that remote work? Okay, you have to ask yourself those questions. If you were not physically with that person, would you consider that remote work? Are you able to articulate it that you were given instructions regardless of where your physical location was? If you can say yes to that, then obviously you have some remote experience where somebody was not standing over you and looking at you and telling you it's time to do A, it's time to do B, it's time to do C. Okay, that's what employers are looking for. And being able to work independently it's huge when you're thinking about working for an abroad company, right? I don't remember the time where any of my leadership has stood over my shoulder to say, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? Essentially, most of them don't even contact me. Okay, I know how to reach them if I need them for any engagement. Basically, they expect you to run your business. When they hire you, they're hiring you to run a business for them. And oftentimes they see you as smarter than they are, and they hand that business over to you and you go and run it. In whatever skill that is. When we talk about digital economy, it could be content marketing, it could be technical writing, it could be networking, it could be cybersecurity analysis, it could be, security operation, it could be AI, it could be a lot of different things. And when they hire you, they hand that job over to you and they expect you to run it. And if you run into problems, you want to reach out to the hiring manager or your boss, whomever you're working for, before it becomes an issue. And so when people are looking at your resume, they want to see that you have done something like that before, number one. Number two, and that you can articulate that to them. Okay, they want to know that they don't need to be over your shoulder and watch you and say, are you doing action number A now, action number B now? And actually, for me, I engage with a lot of different companies in Africa. One of the reasons that I've often heard is that, employers do not trust their employees in Nigeria to be able to work from home, right? In terms of resources, data, or, if we were to give them data, they'll use that data, on whatever personal, benefit that they want. If you're going to work for a remote employer, you got to think about those things. And so now that you're considering working for an abroad company, we want to see, or an employer want to see that, yes, if I hire you, you can be effective without any supervision. Okay. And that you can be productive. And if you run into problems, most leadership, they do not like surprises. So before it becomes a problem where customer is actually saying, I don't want to work with you anymore, your leadership should not be surprised. Okay. So let's talk about some skills that employers are looking for. They're looking for someone with a good mindset. Okay. I can tell you, Nigerians are very, very intelligent. Okay. We are very, very, very intelligent. I can tell you that I've met a lot of Nigerians, myself, I'm Nigerian, and if you look at data, not just in Nigeria but abroad, we are very, very educated and we're very, very smart. What comes with that, though, is that sometimes we don't have a good mindset. Okay, the idea that I am very, very smart and I don't need to learn from you. It's a turnoff when someone is coming to hire you, right? They want to know that you are someone that is able to learn. We're not looking for a know-it-all. As a matter of fact, myself, I've done a plethora of interviews. We've turned people that are smarter than myself, people that are not as smart as I am, we've turned them away because during that interview process, I am and my team, we are able to ascertain that you don't have a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the idea that, yes, I know A, but if I don't know B, I'm going to take the time and I'm going to apply myself, use my own personal resources. I'm going to learn that. And then you know what I'm going to do is prove by actually applying those skills in my role and seeing productivity and being able to measure the results. Okay, so growth mindset, I'm telling you, I cannot stress enough. Within a 30-minute conversation, 30-minute interview, a remote hiring person can ascertain, do you have a growth mindset or not? You don't have a long time. Okay, I cannot say that a lot. Another thing that I learn about our people is that oftentimes we sit and we wait. We wait for people to come and say, here, you need to learn this. Here, you need to learn that. No. In most abroad company, they hire you to do a job and they expect you to do that job. And while you are doing that job, it's your responsibility to say, how can I make this job better? How can I change, how can I bring in the time to market? Instead of it, we typically deliver a product, tire, is it tire? No. Mebeke was talking about he's a production maintenance engineer. You know that when you're on a production line, maybe it would take you 30 days to deliver a product. But by the time it goes through every station before it gets, delivered and ready to go to the market, first customer shipment, FCO, you need to make, or FCS, it needs to go through several different things to make sure that, it's executed well, it is built properly, all the safety mechanisms are met, all the requirements are met. You understand? And so, when we talk about growth mindset, and when you are hired, what employers are looking for are things like this. Well, if he is on a production line, is he able to, and typically I deliver a product in 30 days. They're looking for, is that person able to help me reduce that time to market to 15 days? Within that 30 minutes, they can ascertain, are you someone that is going to sit and think, if I automate this, I can probably do this while I'm sleeping, and my boss will never know that I'm sleeping, because, and within 30 minutes, they can determine that, you have the ability to say, I can do what you want me to do, and I can do it better. And then before you know it, you're able to create another job for yourself, right? And maybe even lead an initiative within the organization. Growth mindset is the idea that, yes, you are smart. Yes, we hire you because you are smarter than we are, but we need to know that you are able to continue to upskill yourself, reskill yourself, even without me funding you, without me telling you to do that. Okay? Or even without me paying for you to do that, right? So I spend a lot of time on growth mindset because it matters. I talk about this with youth today. I mentor a lot of youth in Africa and different countries, and even youth in America in church here and also at Cisco. I do travel around, but it's very, very important to have that growth mindset. Time and task management is huge. In America, we have something called Black people time or colored people time. In Nigeria, we have what's called African time. Listen, that does not apply here. When we say show up to work at 8 o'clock, they expect you to show evidence that you showed up at work at 8, right? 8 o'clock. And if you work full-time means that you spend 40 hours working on that initiative. That's a full-time job. Full-time job is you spend about 8 hours a day up to 5 days, or maybe 10 hours for 10 hours a day for 4 days. Okay. And with technology, okay, everything you do on a computer or you do on an application, now that we have application being delivered from the cloud, an employer has a way to confirm what you were doing. Okay, I personally have a Cisco laptop. I carry it everywhere I go. Everything I have my personal laptop, but I hardly use that unless if I'm doing something like, I'm hacking or something like that, doing some kind of pen testing, not hacking, but pen testing, which is legal. So mind you, I just said that. Then I can use I don't use Cisco's computer for that. I use my personal computer. But everything I do on my Cisco computer, they're able to have forensics to know every single thing I did when I logged in, what I did when I first logged in. Can they do that for you and say, okay, if this person was doing work during the time that they're supposed to do, and here's what they were working on. Have to be self-motivated. No one needs to ask you to go and do this. You have to have good written and verbal communication skills. Like I mentioned with the time is huge. You have to be curious. You have to be proactive. You don't wait for your boss to say, hey, we need to move in this direction before you start working on it. Take, for instance, I joined a team when I was designing and implementing data centers for, I'm not going to name the name, for a Fortune 500 company. When I joined that team, we were doing some validation for a data center, and we were doing it, one at a time across multiple platforms, and it took so much time to deliver. But when I joined that team, I was like, wow, this is taking a long time to execute these. Why don't we find some kind of tool, some automation that helps us close the time to market for the customer, make the customer extremely happy because now we're able to deliver results faster, and then give us room to take in more projects and make the business profitable. Okay, so that mindset I had to sit down and think about, hey, what can I do to get that automated? Are we really automating? Who do I need to train? Who need to pick up the skills? And then the team that I was working with needed to say, I'm going to learn this particular technology so I can help drive the automation. Okay, so you have to be proactive, and you have to not wait for someone to come and tell you what to do. And I'm just very direct. I'm sharing deep experience with you guys that oftentimes we don't have other people coming and sharing these things with us. But before I move on further, I want to kind of just do a health check in the room and see, do we have questions in the room right now? Any questions about what I've talked about so far? Uko, are you guys still hearing me?
No question. I understand every point.
Yeah,
We can hear you.
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So then I'll go ahead and move forward. I'm almost done here, and I'm going to do some demonstration. So this is start after skills, and there's something called hard skills. Okay, hard skills are actually those things that you do to learn your job. These are skills that are teachable. Okay, these are teachable abilities or skill set that are pretty easy to quantify. Okay, for instance, I have here on this deck, I have, if you want to be someone who's in, an IT, you can say, spend time learning Microsoft Office, just the Google Suite, Adobe Create. These are hard skills for someone that wants to work in computer/software. Okay, if you want to be in accounting, these are hard skills that are teachable and you can easily quantify and say, well, I took these certifications, and in that certifications, here were the objectives, and I learned those objectives, and beyond that, I also did some hands-on training, and I know how to actually implement it. These are hard skills that you need to be able to explain on your resume. We look for this. As a matter of fact, when you're building your resume, recruiters, they're looking for these keywords, right? When I am being told to recruit, I'm being given a job requisition. That job requisition has high-level keywords that I'm going to look for in people's resume that I'm finding, right? Those are the hard skills. Okay. Towards the bottom right here, I've got digital marketing. Digital marketing has got SEO, Google Analytics. Someone said they can't hear me. Oh no. Yes, I'm speaking.
Be from that part. No, no, we can hear you. I'm sure it's from sorry.
Okay. Yeah, can you just take go ahead and text Precious. Just tell him to check her network or his network, please, to ensure maybe log back in or call back in. Thank you so much. We so
Okay, is it
appreciate
on
it.
the chat?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah. Check on the chat. Um, you guys, like I said, we have a very small group of people in this meeting. It's because I wanted to make it intimate, make it relevant to you. So if you have questions, feel free to drop those questions in the room and I'll address them as we go, or you can raise your hand and we can talk about it. All right. So these are hard skills. You need to look for hard skills that are in the job that you're going to apply for, because you need to use that hard skill and put in your resume. Again, it's important for you to know what you want to do, because if you know what you want to do, you can gain those skills, you can gain those strengths, you can gain those hard skills, and now you can take those hard skills words and drop it into your resume, and then submit it, and that will be able to grab hits really nicely, really quickly. Okay. One thing I want to also talk about here is what you want to do. You will find that in remote work, there's a lot of things that you can do. You can work in AI if you want to. You can work as a security or operation analyst if you want to. You can be a Lara developer if you want to. I'm going to show you later on. There's so many different opportunities. Okay, it's important for you. Content writer if you want. You need to know what you want to do, gain those skills, put them on your hard skills on your resume, and then submit them. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to find those jobs in a moment. That sometimes you can use those jobs that are already displayed there and build your resume from that. Okay, soft skills are very, very important. These are the things I call superpower. Okay, if you're in an interview and I ask you, oh, he's like, can barely hear me. I'm so sorry, Precious. It must be your internet, and that's why you're not able to hear me, because others are able to hear me. Sam, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we're inside when I'm in an interview, or if I'm in a conversation, I'm telling you that I need to know your superpower really quickly. Okay, these are called the elevation pitch. If I meet you in an elevator might take about 25 seconds for us to get to where we're trying to get to. What would you tell me about you that will help me determine, hey, these are something that this person have innately? Okay, so a strong work ethic is good to highlight in your elevation pitch. First of all, I hope everybody in this room have an elevator pitch. If you don't have an elevator pitch, we need to talk about that. Okay, so you need to Google it, learn it, build your own, because this is very, very important. Most of the jobs that I have, it's not because I went online to find the jobs. Okay, I've worn like 5 hats within Cisco, is because I meet with people and I talk with them. It's called networking. And when I meet with them and talk with them about what I'm doing, about what they're doing, they're able to immediately ascertain my skills and what I'm good at. And when a job come open in their team or their organization, they reach out to me. Okay, soft skills are things that you can't buy in the market. Okay, having a positive attitude is worth it's incredible. Okay, being able to be to operate with integrity matters a lot. Coming from Africa, I'm going to tell you that is that even myself, I have a sister who's a banker. Whenever there's a 419 scam that has been successful, she sees it being displayed in a huge TV screen in the bank. You know what they say? Yeah, Nigerian people. So first of all, we're being seen as people that lack integrity. You know what? You have to build that for your own self, right? Whatever people think, whatever people think about the country or the continent, that's fine. But you can build your own. You have your own canvas, and you can project what you want to project about yourself, right? Someone of integrity, something that you have to build, and within the conversation, someone is able to determine, are you somebody that can potentially have integrity problems or not? Okay, someone who works well under pressure, someone who's flexible, right? I talked about the schedules, right? In America, we are 6 hours behind you guys. And if you wanted to get a job from an employer in the US, they'll tell you 8 to 6, 8 to 5 Eastern time. That would mean you would have to be flexible to say, okay, I'm going to, work on your time zone, right? which may not necessarily match the time zone that you are in. Okay, ability to communicate, self-confidence is a huge thing. Another thing I want to talk about is self-confidence. It is huge. Okay, one thing I didn't tell you guys about myself. I've been an engineer right out of university, and with Cisco, I've always been the only woman in my team. I'll say that again. I've always been the only woman, sometimes amongst 40 male engineers, most of them white. A lot of them actually, my second job at Cisco, I was the only female, the only Black person amongst 40 engineers. And, and being the only woman, people have different kinds of personality. Sometimes it's really, really easy for the women to say, you know what, they're going to think I'm not smart. And you crawl back into your shell. Or you measure yourself out against them, against everybody that's there, and you crawl back into your shell. No, we don't want that. We want someone who's able to speak up and say, hey, why are you choosing option A? I think it's better to take option B to arrive at this result. If we choose option A, we're going to have this difficulty, A, B, and C. But if we choose option, the second option that I'm suggesting, we can eliminate these issues and be able to derive results that will, lower the cost for us to deliver that result. We have to be someone who is self-confident, someone who's able to speak up in meetings. And when I say remote work means that you're working from a different place than your team are. If you're over video conferencing, you need to be able to talk and speak up and say, hey, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Can we take a different path to do this? I'm doing it this way. Is it okay? You have to be able to speak up. Time management skills matter. Acting as a team player. Maybe your teammate could be sick and they're out for 2 days. Are you able to say, hey, John, I know that you are sick. Maybe you have COVID during this COVID time. Send me all your clients. I'll be in touch with the customers for you. That's called a team player. The idea that if your team member fails, you also have failed is very, very important. It's not the idea where, you see people say, well, I'm doing well in my role. I'm doing well in my job, delivering my responsibilities. No, we're not hiring. People are not hiring for that. They look for you to have the teams, you have a team mindset, the ability to collaborate with other people to drive a common goal and drive a common results. So these are soft skills that you need to articulate in your resume, and then bring these things out as you're talking about, when you get an interview, bring these things out in those conversations. All right, I'm going to pivot to talking about tools. These are things that are basically the ingredients to a resume. I've been going through the ingredients. So in your resume, you want to be able to articulate some tools that you have used before. Okay. From a video conference perspective, we have Webex, we've got Skype, we've got Zoom. Okay, there are a plethora of them. You've got IM, Google Chat, file sharings. Like, we need to be able to know that we can share files with you and you're able to do your job. Let me talk to you about what's called cloud resources. Okay, there are tools that are on the internet that from your computer you can securely access that tool and do your job, and you can do so securely. Okay, so like I mentioned, for me working for Cisco, they've given me a Cisco computer. Well, if you're working remotely, you may not be afforded that ability for them to send you a computer. That means you need to use your computer. And now, as cloud adoption is growing, there are several services that are being delivered from the cloud to customers, delivered from the cloud to employees, And so you have to be that person that know how to access those resources without being afraid. Because you cannot be afraid of technology. You cannot be afraid of learning new things. If you see in a job requisition, it requires you to be able to use a tool that you didn't know. Well, what does that mean? You pick up the tool and you learn it online before you submit your resume. Okay. Salesforce are some of the SaaS applications that are delivered from the cloud. Ticketing system. Okay, if you're working on a job, let's say it's not even like a data analyst role. Let's say it's not whatever job there is. Oftentimes they have a system that allows you to do your job and remain accountable. Okay, and things like Services Now is one of the tools. There's Zendex. There's Remedies that like Zendesk is like a ticketing platform. If I'm providing technical support for customers, and so customers can open an email and send an email to a particular address, that email would open the ticket in my Zendex, and that customer would get a confirmation that ticket number 123 has been created. And for me, working for this company, I now have ticket 123 to help the customer solve that problem. Okay, so ticketing system is often one of the things that you're going to have access to from the cloud if you get remote work. Project management is huge. There are different tools like Monday. If you've not heard about it, a lot of companies are utilizing Monday to basically specify if we've given you a job, the different stages that you need to go through to arrive at the results. And so those stages are highlighted inside that Monday application. And you can basically say, okay, I'm at stage 1 now. I need to call the customer. I need to do B, C, and D for that stage 1. And then once you do them, you can check them off stage 2 and so on and so forth. So being able to articulate that you can project manage, it's a huge deal with an application or without an application. Okay. A resume. Yeah, let's talk about resume. And I'm going to share with you an example resume. For starters, yeah, we used to, I'm sure your resume might say objectives today. If you have a resume that says objectives, you need to scratch that, because we know that that you're looking for work. Okay, the purpose of your resume is to find a job, and it's no longer required for people. It's kind of put people off to put objectives on there. It's like you don't know what you're doing, right? So what are employers looking for today? They're looking for a summary of skills. Okay, so if you have objectives, it's time to scratch that and put summary of skills. So go that, and then you write down your experience and skills. Keywords, I've mentioned keywords are very important when you find that job that you want. You want those keywords to be reflected inside your resume, okay? Because if I am trying to dig through a lot of application submission, I'm going to look for the one that has the most of those keywords. Okay, they are your best friends. Another thing I want to talk about regarding your resume, once you build it, make sure that you modify your resume per job that you apply for. You understand me? So if I'm applying for content writing at Slack, then I'm going to use the keywords that they have for content writer. I'm applying for content writer at Skillsoft. Well, all those keywords that Slack had used may not be relevant because they have not asked, request that in their requisition. So then I'm going to modify some of that to reflect what the employer is asking for. All right. And when you're applying for this, I'm going to show you a long list of where you can find these jobs and things of that nature. It's important that you go ahead and create some kind of a spreadsheet and be able to write down, this is the job that I applied for. Write down, I applied for this job. Here's the job description. And even beyond that, here is the link for that job. Save the job, because when you do get called in for interview, you want to be able to refer back to it. You want to be able to refer back to it and know what you had applied for. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at an example resume. Any questions so far?
And
Precious, Matthew, Toro, Angela, any questions so far?
No question so far.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'm
All
fine. No
right,
question for now.
thank
Maybe
you,
at the
thank
end
you.
of the day.
All right, okay, so let's talk about example resume. Okay, so here's an example of a resume that I have. As you can see here, it's got a, is it too small? Can
almost
anybody
finished by
see it?
9:30. Oh, it's almost 9:30.
Okay, I'm running. I know I'm running to my. I'm gonna be getting. It's almost over here. So give me some time. All right. So here's an example resume. As you can see, we've got a dedicated nonprofit director, program director, and it states here, basically, tell employers exactly who you are and what you have to offer to the employer. Okay. Skills summary, as you can see here, the skills summary should have all the keywords you see about that job. Okay, as you can see, I was a mentor, I did IT governance, PM work, networking support. Skills summary is very, very important because this is how your resume that you've uploaded get parsed to the recruiter. So it's very, very important that you highlight that here. When we talk about the professional experience, go ahead and put whatever you did on the left hand side here. You put the dates you did that, and then you maybe about 3 bullets or so, 3 or 4 bullets. Go ahead and list your job duties and accomplishment that you've accomplished in that place. Okay, you want to know what you did. You want to talk about what the impact of your work. You want to talk about what problems you solve. You want to talk about what you made better. You want to talk about, what did you save? Did you save the business from tanking? What impact your tasks delivered? Okay. Some technology skills that you want to highlight, Microsoft Word, you can say that. Whatever those hard skills are, go ahead and share that here, because employers, as a remote employer, we want to know the things that you already know how to use and what we'll have to teach you. Okay, because if you don't have any of the popular ones on your list, most likely I'm going to have to teach you all that stuff, and I might pass on your application. All right. Education and training, you might have education there, and then you have training. Again, I always talk about getting certifications. Certification is training, right? Whether you learn that on your own or whether somebody else trained you, you need to put that down as something that you did to gain some hard skills. You want your resume to be about 2 pages long. I have extra examples here, which I will share with the group later on. But you want your resume to be at least, if you don't have if you've not been working for 10 years, don't put out a 2-page resume. Okay, I've been working for 10 years, my 10 plus years. My resume is 2 pages long, right? And my resume is arranged in a way, it's kind of have like, it's kind of like this, what you see here. And then make sure that there are no misspelled words in your resume. Use a spell checker, have someone else look over it for you. You could do something like this where you write your job title, the dates you did that job, whether it was for an uncle or anybody you work for, specify that there, write down the results from it. Okay, so there's that. What else do I want to share with you? Uko, what do you want to say? Do you want to say anything? I'm bringing up my another screen right now. Do you want to say anything or ask the room a question before we wrap up with the examples?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm learning too.
Okay. All right, guys. So, all right, guys. So, as you are looking for jobs, like I mentioned earlier, I understand. Like I said, I'm Nigerian. I'm very, very close to Nigeria in my heart and in my activities. There are a lot of remote jobs out there, right? Someone mentioned a data analyst. There are jobs out there. A developer. There are jobs out there. Python. Are you good with Python? Because if you're good with Python, you can take a remote job making $60,000+ a year from wherever you are. Okay. The problem is, how do you find those jobs and how do you get your name in the bucket to be, to possibly be, interviewed. Okay. Um, so, and I want to say one thing though about remote jobs. People, employers are realizing that if they're able to outsource this job to out of the country they work for, or they have as a headquarters, they're able to, number one, get innovative ideas. Okay, so the idea that you have in Africa, someone in Europe might not have that intelligence. So we are people, employers are spreading their wings, so to speak, to go out and fetch talent across the globe, because when you have different people in the room, you can have innovation, you can have ideation. So that's why you see companies posting a lot of jobs online. Okay. So I'm going to take you to a link here called remoteio.com. I think I have it on my presentation. I have a list of some companies here. You know, there are people today, you guys, that literally travel the world and work from wherever they travel to. They're called the working nomads. Okay. They're basically say, I want to live anywhere in the world, whether it's Thailand or whether it's, you know, Madagascar. And they just continue to travel, and they're, you know, if you're a remote worker, who cares where you're working from? You need good access to solid internet, and you need to be able to be available the time your employer needs you to be available. Okay, so I'm going to take you, for instance, to a site called remoteok.io. This is a company that does a lot of remote hiring. Okay, all right, so are everyone able to see my screen right now? Is the screen large enough?
Yes, we can, but if you could expand it a bit to be better, okay?
All right, so if you go to this one, I have several links. Okay, I mentioned I have a few links in here, but literally I have hundreds of links that I can share with people. You know, your objective should be to look through these links and find jobs that you would want to do. Okay, I know people have mentioned things like data analyst and, you know, digital economy and cybersecurity. All of those jobs are available online. If you come to remote okay.io, you see it says about remote jobs in different kind of areas that are available up here, right? Let's say I think I did a search on remote jobs, and then and as you can see, once you do remote jobs, you can see different, it says worldwide. There's a Kosgi, there's a job for product designer. Okay, it's a verified job and it's available worldwide. What are the skills you need? You can, these are tags that companies are putting out there for you to say, I have these hard skills, the keywords that I was talking about. Yes, let me apply for it, right? And sometimes I'm gonna give you these resources so you can look through, because you may think you know what you want to do, and when you begin to look through these jobs, you're gonna find like, oh, maybe that's not what I want to do, or I don't have any skills, or I need to learn something else to do this job. And so you're able to look through the jobs that are out there that are actually for remote employees or for remote work, and then look at those skills, and then you can work your way backwards. Say, well, I see this job here and I'm more interested in that. Let me go gain those skills and I can apply for this job. Perhaps this one will not be available, but others will be available, right? So that's product designer, and you can apply for it. These are really, really extremely technical roles, as you can see. But I know there's a lot of developers in Nigeria. Personally, this is something that they can take advantage of. Okay, digital marketing officer. You can see some jobs says US only. Well, you can click on it and then take a look at those skills. You can see something like this. It says TLDR. You need to learn how to obviously you guys are really good at, you know, using acronyms, but this says too long, don't read. Okay, basically they're looking for someone who can write clean code and you don't hate talking to people. You know, the way we talk in the digital economy, it's a little different. We're pretty straightforward, but that's what this is. And you can now scroll down and find out about, you know, what they want you to have in terms of skills. As you can see here, they want you to have good verbal and written skills, tactful deployment, someone who is forward thinking. Oh, look at that. When I said growth mindset, I didn't know this job was gonna be there, and I didn't know they had a growth mindset. All right. So again, they're telling you here, I need you to be someone who can learn, and you are able to articulate that to me, not by just saying, "Oh, I have a growth mindset," but to show us, that while you were going through university or while you were doing job A, you have a growth mindset, and you took the time to learn something, a different skill to partner with what you already know. Okay, so either partner, learn another skill to partner with your first degree, learn another skill to partner with your job, to upskill or reskill yourself. You need to be able to articulate that to an employer. Okay. What you already know is specified here. All right, so these are very technical jobs. As you can see, it tells you you can get 4 weeks paid vacation, 5 days paid 12 hours. I mean, all of these things, they tell you here what you can actually do. And when I say full-time job means that you're working at least 40 hours a week. 40 hours a week is full-time. Then you have what's called half-time, part-time work. Part-time means that at least you work at the very least 19 hours a week. So anything from 19 to 30, 34 hours a week. No, it's 36 hours a week is part-time. 36 and up is full-time. So you have to start to have that idea about full-time. I'm saying this because I'm very familiar with people that I grew up with that I would consider perhaps my elders or parents or aunts and uncles. They will go to work at 11 o'clock and leave at 2. They will go to work and they will see that they have several people waiting for them, and they'll go late, and then when they get there, they're only able to attend to one customer. All the other customers leave. This is a problem. No, we need you to be there for 8 hours, and you show up for 8 hours, or else we don't have time for that. Okay. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, it tells you the salary there. Most jobs will not show you the salary right off the bat, but in this particular job, it tells you the salary. Okay. And wherever you are, if it's a worldwide job, they'll tell you the salary for that area. Okay. All right. So I'm going to scroll back here. Let's say that right now you don't have the skills you want. One of the skills in America or abroad is like a customer support role. Being able to take calls, being able to open up emails, being able to respond, being able to provide some technical support. Like, let's say a company like Pyelshak. Okay, you guys know about Pyelshak. Pyelshak might have an entry-level role where you can basically when somebody files the ticket, your job is just to reply back to that customer and say, hey, I'm writing back to acknowledge the ticket that you filed. We see that you're having a problem with using a Visa card or using your current account. A higher level technician, here is your ticket number. A higher level technician will reach out to you. So you are that first stop, that first encounter with the customer, and that doesn't require you to be extremely technical. So while you're gonna see a lot of jobs here that are super technical that require a lot of deep skills, there are other things that you can do today, like customer support or content writer, that you're able to immediately start to find jobs today or look for jobs to apply for today. So I'm just going to click on here. I'm going to click on customer support. As you can see, it tells you directory, tells you top remote companies, payroll for remote teams. All of these things are available at your fingertip. All right, let's look through this. Customer support manager. All right, well, it says Europe only. And this one says, okay, look at that. Account manager, customer support role. All right, it's looking for customer support, account management, and exec. So I don't know what that really means, but customer support is in Nigeria, in abroad, we have what's called customer support. You guys may very well be aware of this, so if it's a repetition, just take it with a grain of salt. But if it's new to you, here's what it is. You know how you have your Airtel, your MTN, your service providers that are giving you data service. Okay, those people should have what's called a customer support center, that if you have a problem, you call back and you call into that customer center and they're able to help you, or you can email and they should be able to help you, right? That's what a customer support role is. And if you know how to sell Maggi, you can have customer support. If you know how to farm, you can, because you know how to take care of your garden and all, you can say, I can be a customer support representative. Okay, so this is something that you should know that you can do. You may just need to go through some kind of discussions around, hey, is my resume ready to apply for this job? Number one. Number two, I have an interview going on. How can I make sure that I sell myself best? These require additional conversation. Maybe you and I can talk about having another webinar for that. But I'm going to take a look at one of these, for example. There are different kinds. There's head of customer technical support, customer support engineer, all right, so you want to look for worldwide, and even if you're not looking for worldwide, it's good to look through all the other jobs to kind of get an idea of the terminology and the keywords that are being used. And so I'm going to look at this one. It says customer support opportunity, fresh meal, your doorstep, customer support non-tech. It was posted 13 days ago. That might require you to be, I don't know why that's, oh, okay, I see what that means. That might be a delivery job and it may not apply to you guys. I'm going to go back up here because there was one that was a worldwide role. Okay. Worldwide job. Company is called Mudo. Account manager. And account management is the ability to say, I own 5 accounts. So my MTN is my company that I work for. Well, because MTN is my company, MTN have 5 customers. And I am assigned 5 customers to make sure that I provide them customer support. That's what account management is. So if you click on that, it tells you how much you'll be making. It tells you, we run a small company based in London. It tells you this will be a full-time position, the salary of £20,000 to £40,000. Oh, negotiation, you have to negotiate when it comes to salary. And as a woman, I have learned a lot of times in engineering, men get paid more than women. So I have learned to negotiate. And so I'm really good at that. It tells you what your day-to-day will involve. Client support through online messaging channels. No phone, no voice support required. Helping new customers sign up and get started. Checking in with each client account under management. Ensure clients are completing their obligations. Answering general questions from clients. Chasing outstanding client invoices. Tell me, how much of this do you need to go to Niles University in Abuja to learn? You can learn the skills, or you probably already have the skills already. And if you have integrity, you can possibly deliver this job. Okay. This job says fluent in English. One thing I want to talk about is this. India has a market that a lot of jobs in America or abroad are outsourced to India. And in India, they basically handle a lot of jobs and they're getting paid to do this. These are people that you should be concerned about. These are your competitors, Nigerian people. You hear me? They are in India making foreign exchange. Why are you not making foreign exchange? Why are you not making dollars? Why are you not making pounds? Because you haven't applied for it. Okay? You are capable of doing that. One of the things myself, if I may be very transparent with you, I did technical support for TAP, for data center device server virtualization. And when I did that, there was some low-level, entry-level requirement that was sent to India. And some customers were like, I'm not understanding what these guys are saying because of their accents. Okay, when I talk about Nigeria, you have an advantage because you speak the British English. You learn the British English. So you have an advantage here, okay, to leverage what you already have and be able to use it to make money wherever you are. Flexible working schedule that favors good work-life and balance, competitive salary in dollars, location is worldwide. All right, so I know I've gone over my time. I want to go ahead and stop right there. Oh, tracking, I want to talk about this before we go. I know it's been a while. Part of it had to do with the fact that I took us some time. So here's an example of someone who was looking for a job remotely. There's nothing like I'm calling you back to offer you a job and you don't know that you applied for my job. It's a turn off, and I might, if I'm a recruiter, hang up on you or don't reply your emails any further. So that's your responsibility to take time and document every job you apply for, the link, save the actual requisition so that you know about it when somebody reaches out to you. Everybody must know how to use Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so this is one of the things I require a lot of people to learn. You write down the date, the job you applied for, company, the job link that you actually find the job at. Oh, come on, it's not letting me fast forward here. Sorry, it's not letting me file forward, but you can see here method used, responded, date responded, interview schedule, and so on and so forth. Okay. As you can see here, a lot of jobs are available on LinkedIn. If you're on this call, you paid to attend this call. Okay. And I'm talking to you. Let me tell you, I'm an extremely passionate person. There's a couple of people in this room that know me personally. I'm super passionate. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it right the first time around. Okay. And one of the things I want to talk about is, do you have a LinkedIn page? Do you have a LinkedIn page? When a job, if I'm hiring for a role, okay, I put the requisition out there and it's on net. People are going to apply for it. When they apply for it, I look up your name. The first thing I do is go to social media to find out about them. Do they have an online personality? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? What are they talking about on Instagram? Then I go to LinkedIn. I want to know if you've posted those responsibilities on LinkedIn. The kind of messages you like, I want to know that. And so if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, that's number one step for you. And everything that you're learning, like you are doing, build that up as a how do I put it? Put it up there as an experience. I have some people that I know right now who help facilitate learning for other people. Why don't you put that down as an educational specialist and what you did under that role? Okay, that's a job title, educational specialist, and then list everything you did under that role. Okay. And then it's important for you, even if you get a customer service job, that entry-level job, it's important for you to have a vision of where you want to be in the future. And in terms of what you want to do, like, maybe Kate was saying, BK was saying that to be a data engineer and data science. John,
Okay. All right. Can you guys hear me? Niles, can you hear me?
share the slide that you get. I have some. Maybe called mock interview. Like that. And move over.
Nats, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Okay.
There is a noise from Uko's side.
Sorry, now your line is breaking. We can't really hear you clearly.